This time we'll call to order the August 2026 meeting of the Clearwater City Council. If you wish to address the council tonight, please complete a comment card. Comment cards are located by the clerk seated to the right of the dais. When called to speak, please hand your card to the clerk. We'll now move to item 2 on the agenda, and for our invocation, I'd ask that everyone please stand for our invocation to be given by Pastor Willie Rice, Calvary Church, the oldest church, as I recall, in Pinellas County. And we want to congratulate Dr. Rice, too. He was recently elected the 66th president of the Southern Baptist Convention, one of the largest faith-based Christian organizations in the entire world. And congratulations on that, Pastor, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we give you our praise. You are the living God. You are the creator of all. You have given us life and breath. You are the ruler and judge of all the universe. And we come tonight with gratitude in our hearts for all that you have done for us and all that you have given to us. And we come tonight seeking your wisdom and praying for your wisdom upon those who would serve our city and your blessings upon our city. Lord, we thank you for your offer of life in your Son, and your offer of forgiveness and your grace poured out to each one of us. God, we pray for the leaders of our city. We pray for men and women of integrity and courage. We pray for men and women who will not be bought or bullied, but will stand for what is right, knowing that they will give an account to you, as will we all. We pray for our city. Lord, we pray for your grace to be poured out upon our city, for us to be humbled, and for us to seek you, to seek your wisdom and your goodness, both for ourselves and for our neighbors. Lord, we need your help. We need your grace. There are many problems. There are many challenges that these leaders face, and this meeting represents one step in trying to resolve that and manage this city. So we thank you for government, which has been ordained by you, and those leaders who have been ordained by you. May they serve, again, you and others as servants of you, and reminding that they are always, of course, accountable to not only us, but ultimately to you. So, Lord Jesus, we pray that you will bless this meeting, and I offer this prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we go further in tonight's agenda, please let me introduce our dais. To my far left is our Deputy City Clerk, Nicole Sprague.
Good evening.
To her right is our City Clerk, Rosemarie Cole.
Good evening.
To her right is our City Attorney, Owen Kohler.
Good evening.
To his right is City Councilmember Lena Teixeira.
Hello, everyone.
To my left is Vice Mayor Ryan Cotton.
Hello, welcome.
To my right is Councilmember Mike Menino.
Good evening.
To his right, Councilmember David Albritton.
Hello.
To his right, City Manager Jennifer Poirier.
Good evening.
To her right, Assistant City Manager Dan Slaughter. And to his right, Assistant City Manager Al Battle. With that, we'll move to item 4.1 on the agenda.
Special recognition of Clearwater businesses named among the Tampa Bay Business Journal's top 50 fastest growing companies for business growth.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Manager, Assistant City Managers, other respected members of the dais. Chris Edwards here, Economic Development and Housing Director. I'm here tonight with our Economic Development team, Audra Aja and Stephanie Skelos. Here tonight, we're pleased to recognize 6 Clearwater headquartered companies. More recently honored at the Tampa Bay Business Journal's 2026 Fast 50 Luncheon. The Fast 50 requires privately held for-profit companies headquartered in Tampa Bay region with at least $1 million in 2023 revenue and demonstrated growth through 2025 with revenues verified by RSM US. We're especially proud that these 6 Clearwater businesses made this year's list, including 4 joining us here tonight. These companies represent the innovation, the investment, and job creation strengthening Clearwater's economy deserves. And I'd now like the opportunity to introduce Stephanie Scalos, who will come up and who oversees our business retention expansion efforts to recognize these outstanding companies.
Good evening, Stephanie Scalos, Economic Development Coordinator. I'm here tonight to introduce to you 4 of the 6 companies that made the 2026 Fast 50 list. I would like to give an overview of each finalist and present them with a certificate of recognition and city-branded coaster as a token of appreciation for their commitment to Clearwater. First, with us tonight, we have Plexus Technologies, a managed service provider and refurbished computer reseller based in downtown Clearwater. They ranked number 33 on the list and showed more than 51% increase in revenue. This is their first time being recognized by Tampa Bay Business Journal Fast 50. Tonight, we have co-founder and managing partner Jeff Garfinkel and Director of Operations Michael Lazarczyk with us tonight. Next, we have Yo Mama's Foods, a natural packaged foods company headquartered right here in North Greenwood, with distribution in over 25,000 stores across 19 countries. Yo Mama's prides itself on products made from ingredients found in your mom's kitchen and has demonstrated their commitment by continuing to expand and invest in a local community. This year, they ranked number 16 on the list and saw more than a 96% increase in revenue. This is Yo Mama's 4th time making the list. Tonight we have founder and CEO David Habib, Senior Accounting Specialist Mary Favorite, Director of Marketing and E-commerce Morgan Bradham, and Sales Manager Angela Carter with us tonight. Our 3rd company with us tonight is Park and Eliezer Construction, a construction management firm specializing in multifamily, retail, and grocery automotive, office, storage, medical, and nonprofit sectors. They ranked number 7 on the list and saw more than 195% increase in revenue. This is their 8th time making the list. And tonight we have Director of Business Development, Austin Fiocco, with us tonight. And finally, we have Fly USA, a technology-focused private aviation company delivering end-to-end solutions for charter aircraft management and aircraft acquisitions. They recently broke ground on an 18,000 square foot, 2-story executive airport terminal. They ranked number 6 on the list this year and saw more than a 215% increase in annual revenue. This is their 3rd time making the list. And tonight we have CEO Barry Shevelin with us tonight. The 2 other companies who are unable to make it are Shelby Construction, who came in at number 25, and Sunrise Capital Investors, who came in at number 10. This concludes our presentation, but before we leave, we would like to do a group photo with everyone. And thank you.
Before you come up, I just want to say, how proud we are to have all of you here in Clearwater. Representing us in this list of the fastest growing businesses in Tampa Bay, but as Stephanie pointed out, representing us throughout the country and throughout the world. And we're proud of all of you, what you've already accomplished and what you will continue to accomplish in making Clearwater your home. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for all you've done. I know some of you started these businesses from scratch, and it's been a labor of love in the beginning, and it's grown maybe far beyond what you ever thought it would grow. But we hope we can continue to help you grow, and you'll always be proud to call Clearwater your home. Thank you.
Be careful.
Good to see you again. Just coming out tonight.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Jumped out of line.
We're gonna figure out how to get a picture of that. Thank you.
That'd be interesting.
Helps if we don't have the tallest people in the middle because of the way it lines you up. That's better.
Usually I'm up the door.
One, two, three, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Text me next time. I'm gonna bring my little plastic.
Okay, we'll now move to item 5.1 on the agenda.
Approve the minutes of the August 6, 2026 City Council meeting.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Now move to item 6.1.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designations of residential low, RL, and drainage feature overlay and initial zoning atlas designation of low, medium density residential, LMDR, District for 1764 Evans Drive, and pass ordinances 9910-26, 9911-26, and 9912-26 on first reading.
Good evening. Marcy Stenmark with Planning and Development. This is a voluntary annexation request for a .18 acre site located on the west side of Evans Drive, approximately 267 feet south of Morningside Drive. The parcel is occupied by a single-family detached dwelling. The applicant is requesting annexation to receive sanitary sewer from the city, and Planning and Development staff concluded this annexation is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan and Community Development Code and recommends approval. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe we have a rating, I guess, before we,
Ordinance number 9910-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the west side of Evans Drive, approximately 267 feet south of Morningside Drive, whose post office address is 1764 Evans Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33759, into the corporate limits of the city and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9911-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the west side of Evans Drive, approximately 267 feet south of Morningside Drive, whose post office address is 1764 Evans Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33759, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as residential low RL and water drainage feature overlay, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9912-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the west side of Evans Drive, approximately 267 feet south of Morningside Drive, whose post office address is 1764 Evans Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33759, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as low-medium density residential, LMDR, and providing an effective date.
is there anyone here from the public tonight that desires to speak to agenda item 6.1? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.2.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designations of US 19 Regional Center, US 19-RC, and initial zoning atlas designation of US 19 District for 603 South Bayview Avenue, and pass ordinances 9913-26, 9914-26, and 9915-26 on first reading.
This is a voluntary annexation request for a .59 acre site located on the northeast side of South Bayview Avenue, approximately 471 feet south of Gulf to Bay Boulevard. The parcel is occupied with a single-family detached dwelling. The applicant is requesting annexation to increase the allowable development potential and uses on the property because the subject property is part of the US 19 planning area. This area is pre-planned by a regulating plan in the Community Development Code and MAP QP2 in the Comprehensive Plan, so that when the property is annexed, it is designated with the US 19 future land use, in this instance, US 19 Regional Center, and assigned the US 19 zoning district. Staff received a letter from the property owner at 517 South Bayview Avenue and a voicemail from a representative of Our Lady of Divine Providence House of Prayer, located west and south of the subject property. They both indicated support for single-family residential zoning rather than the proposed US 19 zoning. Our Lady of Divine Providence participated in the US 19 planning process, and they retained their institutional future land use and institutional zoning to the west and to the south of this property. I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. May we have a reading?
Ordinance number 9913-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the northeast side of South Bayview Avenue, approximately 471 feet south of Gulf to Bay Boulevard, whose post office address is 603 South Bayview Avenue, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9914-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to change the land use for certain real property located on the northeast side of South Bayview Avenue, approximately 471 feet south of Gulf to Bay Boulevard, whose post office address is 603 South Bayview Avenue, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, from residential urban RU in Pinellas County to US 19 Regional Center, US 19-RC, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9915-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the northeast side of South Bayview Way, approximately 471 feet south of Gulf to Bay Boulevard, whose post office address is 603 South Bayview Avenue, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as US 19, providing an effective date.
Is anyone here from the public tonight that desires to speak to agenda item 6.2?
I'm a direct neighbor right next to, I'm
If you could
517 South
Yeah.
Bayview
State your
Avenue.
name, please.
Yeah, just so we have your, and do we have,
My name is Laura Pell.
Thank you.
And I'm here just because I know that the end goal is to build multifamily there, an eightplex. So, you know, my family bought into a residential neighborhood, so my concern, I know that we can't stop people from doing things like that, but the reason that we bought there is because it is single-family homes and the church. So I would, not be excited about an eightplex being built next to my house.
thank you.
I'm Alicia Goodwin. I'm with the Our Lady of Divine Providence House of Prayer. And our concern is that if there's development of multi-units in that location, it would really affect the whole retreat center that we have built there, as well as the residential environment that we have. And I know, like Laura was saying, she's got children. It's a safe area where we have people coming for quiet retreat and reflection. And building something of a multi-unit would really destroy that whole environment. So we really object to the development of that property in a multi-unit.
Scott Phillips, 607. So I've never done this before, so bear with me. So I come at it back to, in a sense of a law enforcement, when you bring the more multiplexes, more units you have, because I have law enforcement in the family, I've been told this brings more crime. Of course, numbers brings up the crime. And I keep a watch on that area, and I don't want to, it also lowers the values of homes when you have multiplexes. So I don't have a lot to say in regards to that. It sets a precedent for the rest of like a domino effect of what could be in that area. So you're taking that quiet for the retreat center there, and you're bringing in, you're devaluing the homes, and you're also bringing more people in that are renting that don't want to plan a taproot there and have a solid foundation. And so the more you bring in, the more problems you have, and the more you just lower everything. Definitely traffic increase in that area. It's a very quiet area, but you got the park to the east of it, and you start bringing the multiplexes in there, and you're going to have the potential of drug, which I've heard there's a drug situation that has happened there, I've heard there, and so that's one more thing that's a negative. I think that's about all I have at this point. I just wanted to speak my mind and do my civic duty for this situation, and say it's a no-go for me. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Is there anyone else from the public that desires to speak to this agenda? If not, is there council discussion? Councilmember Albritton.
So this is a proven annexation, and usually when people annex into the city, they annex for getting sewer or, water and advantages of being in the city of Clearwater. Now, why does this have to do with an eightplex? That's what I want to know.
Sure, you're correct that most of the annexations that you see, we assign the most comparable zoning that they had in the county. This is a specially planned area. It's the US 19 area where we've pre-planned for new uses, intensities, and densities in the US 19 district. So if they rezone it, if they annex, they automatically become part of the US 19 future land use and zoning. So it is very unique.
Okay.
And they told us on the phone they're interested in selling the property, and they would like to build, open it up for people who can have multiple opportunities, as many options as possible on the land.
So we have some people that are neighbors that don't want to see an eightplex. Will they have an opportunity to voice their opinions when plans come into the planning department?
So it would go into permitting, and that's an administrative process.
Okay.
Unless they were to ask for flexible design or something that led to a public hearing, and then at that time, there would be a public hearing where there would be an opportunity to speak. But if they stay within the code and the administratively approved levels of development, then there would not be a public hearing.
Okay, so the intention of the person that bought the land is to bring it into the city to build an eightplex on it, basically.
Or sell it to an entity that may have that option.
All right.
They didn't say eightplex to me. They said options.
Vice Mayor, I think you were
Well,
next.
that's where I was going to go with that. So the only reason we think there's an eightplex going on is because of what the residents have just informed us of.
Yes.
There's nothing else that's in the plans at this point.
Right.
Okay. But to clarify, once they do get annexed, then it becomes an administrative process should they want to build something of that nature on it and/or sell to a developer that's going to do so.
Yes, unless
Okay.
they choose to do a flexible design process where they're asking for more, and then there would be a public hearing potentially before the Community Development Board or potentially before you all. But that's because they're asking for something specialized. But they have an avenue of going through fully administrative. process.
Is this property adjacent to the city limits now? I mean, are they right on the line?
Yes, they're adjacent
Okay.
to the city limits.
So they're
yes.
right on the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question, if they did not annex into the city and stayed under county land use, what restrictions would they have? Would they still be able to move forward with their desired project without city sewer, EMS, police,
Well,
and sanitary services?
Their zoning currently in Pinellas County is R4, which allows for 5,000 square foot lots. So it wouldn't have all the development potential that they would like. They have not indicated to me a sewer concern, but if they wanted to do more development, they would need to connect a sewer, but they couldn't do more development because they're in the county.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, is there a motion?
Yes.
Motion to approve agenda item 6.6.
6.3.
Oh, I'm sorry, 6.2.
Two.
Sorry, yes. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Would be 4 votes for and Councilmember Albritton against. Okay. Thank you. Agenda item 6.3.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of Industrial Limited, IL, and initial zoning atlas designation of Industrial Research and Technology, IRT District for 1995 Carroll Street and pass ordinances 9916-26, 9917-26, and 9918-26 on first reading.
Thank you. This is a voluntary annexation request for a .24 acre site located on the south side of Carroll Street, approximately 160 feet west of North Hercules Avenue. The parcel is currently occupied by a vehicle service use. The applicant is requesting annexation to receive sanitary sewer. Planning and Development staff concluded this annexation is consistent with the comprehensive plan and community development code and recommends approval. Thank you.
May we have a reading?
Ordinance number 9916-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the south side of Carroll Street, approximately 160 feet west of North Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1995 Carroll Street, Clearwater, Florida, 33765, into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9917-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the south side of Carroll Street, approximately 160 feet west of North Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1995 Carroll Street, Clearwater, Florida, 33765, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as Industrial Limited, IL, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9918-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zone atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the south side of Carroll Street, approximately 160 feet west of North Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1995 Carroll Street, Clearwater, Florida, 33765, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as Industrial Research and Technology, IRT, providing an effective date.
Is there anyone here from the public tonight that desires to speak to agenda item 6.3? Hearing, seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.3.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.4.
Approve a development agreement between MHG Palm Pavilion Hotel LP, Six Flag Planted LLC, and the City of Clearwater for property located at 10 Bay Esplanade and 18 Bay Esplanade. Adopt Resolution 26-09 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Ted Kozak, Planning and Development. As stated, this is case number HDA 2026-03001 for 10 Bay Esplanade and 18 Bay Esplanade, Resolution 2609. I know you're quite familiar with this project so far, but I'll go over this briefly as possible. This is to approve a development agreement, as we've talked about, between MHG Palm Pavilion LP and Six Flag Partners LLC, the property owners in the City of Clearwater, for the allocation of 91 units from the hotel reserve. This item was presented to City Council in first reading on July 13th, 2026. Council provided no additional comments or requested changes and scheduled this item for final approval on this date on August 20th. Again, key points, this project is located 1.06 acres at 10 and 18 Bay Esplanade, located in the tourist district, resort facilities high designation, and in Old Florida district of Beach by Design. This is the request, again, is allocation of 91 units from the reserve. Combined with the site's permitted density, the project will contain 144 hotel rooms. Building height is 75 feet, 173 parking spaces, meeting Community Development Code requirements, access from Kendall Street and Bay Esplanade. Hotel rooms, lobby, back of house, in the existing restaurant, and small fifth-floor pool. It's found consistent with the Beach by Design Hotel Reserve criteria. Development agreement is consistent with the comprehensive plan and Beach by Design redevelopment objectives. Again, the proposal is consistent with applicable minimum lot area requirements, parking, Beach by Design height. Proposed setbacks are eligible for approval through a level 2 review process. Landscaping details will be finalized during formal site plan review. And then once again, the project's been evaluated against hotel density reserve criteria, is generally consistent with the standards established by Beach by Design. The proposed development agreement complies with the applicable standards of the Community Development Code. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan and furthers the vision for beach redevelopment established by Beach by Design. Staff recommends approval of the development agreement, adoption of Resolution 2609, and authorization for the appropriate officials to execute the agreement. Thank you.
May we have a reading?
Yeah. Resolution number 26-09, resolution of the City of Clearwater, Florida, approving a development agreement between the City of Clearwater, MHG Palm Pavilion Hotel, LP, and Six Flag Planted, LLC, providing an effective date.
Okay. Presentation by the applicant.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff. Katie Cole with law firm of Hill Ward Henderson, representing the applicant. We do have the PowerPoint presentation, but you have seen it twice already, so I don't need to go through it unless there's questions. We would appreciate your approval of this development agreement to see the redevelopment of a very important piece of beach history while retaining an even more important piece of beach history. So happy to answer any questions, and I'm not sure if there's anybody here to speak again, but happy to respond to those comments as needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is anyone here from the public tonight that desires to speak to agenda item 6.4? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.4.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Move to agenda item 6.5.
Approve the renewal of an interlocal agreement for planning and mapping services and/or special project work with Ford Pinellas for the term beginning October 1, 2026 through September 30, 2030, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Lauren Matzke, Planning and Development. So this item asks City Council to renew an agreement with Ford Pinellas for planning, mapping, and special project services. We've had a similar arrangement with Ford Pinellas in their various names since 2018, and the new agreement would run from October 1st through October 1st of this year through September 30th, 2030. Over the years, Ford Pinellas has helped us with special studies, annexation cases, extra staff support as needed. We would only pay for any services. We're not obligated to pay for anything. We would enter into agreements and establish costs and project scopes based on that. Some hourly rates are being updated, but those were not previously updated, so this is the first change in that since 2018, and staff recommends approval and would welcome the ability to utilize them as needed.
Is there anyone here tonight that desires to speak, from the public, that desires to speak to agenda item 6.5? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Yeah, and Mayor, I appreciate our partnership with Ford Pinellas. I move to approve agenda item 6.5.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.6.
Amend Clearwater Code of Ordinances, Chapter 33, Waterways and Vessels by adding Section 33.122, establishing the Stevenson's Creek Manatee Protection Zone, and pass Ordinance 9931-26 on first reading.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Mike McDonald, Marine and Aviation Director. This item establishes a year-round slow-speed minimum wake manatee protection zone within Stevenson's Creek. Over the past several years, staff has worked with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, the Stevenson's Creek Advocacy Group, and other stakeholders to evaluate manatee activity and boating conditions within the creek. Based on the information collected, Stevenson's Creek is regularly utilized by manatees, including adults and calves. Because it is also a relatively shallow and constrained waterway, reducing vessel speeds will help reduce the potential for vessel strikes while still allowing normal navigation and use of the creek. The proposed zone extends from the mouth of Stevenson's Creek at Clearwater Harbor through the creek and includes the northern tributary to Overbrook Avenue, as shown on the accompanied map. It is important to note that approval tonight does not immediately put the regulatory zone into effect. Following City Council approval, the ordinance must be submitted to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission for the required review and approval. The city must then obtain the necessary permits and install the appropriate regulatory markers before the zone becomes effective. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
May we have a reading?
Ordinance number 9931-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, relating to boating regulatory zones for the protection of manatees, amending Chapter 33, Waterways and Vessels, Article 3, Vessels, by adding Section 33.122, establishing a slow-speed minimum wake manatee protection zone within Stevenson Creek, providing findings, providing definitions, providing for zone designation, providing for regulatory markers, providing for enforcement and penalties, providing for exemptions, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Okay. Anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to agenda item 6.6? Please approach, yeah.
Hi, Mayor, Commissioners, nice to be here. My name is Mike Foley, and I live at 1809 Apache Trail, and currently I'm the Vice President of the Stevenson Creek Advocacy, group, led by Sherry Day, who's been before you at times. We're very proud of this because for 35 years, at the beginning, Clearwater was very polluted. It was called a polluted ditch by the city's own public works director. But today, after 35 years of improvement, where the city of Clearwater has implemented clean water designs, has removed pollution points all along the creek and the entire watershed, the city has developed a watershed management plan that it's been carrying out. It's built the Glen Oaks Water Park, which is a state-of-the-art facility, and now the creek has so much improved, the water quality has come up so much that we're getting manatees in large numbers, significant numbers. We ran a citizen science survey led by, directed by Save the Manatee organization, a club in the state of Florida that was started by Governor Graham. And they have tallied up the numbers through the website, the internet, where we had cited in 8 months over 200 manatees utilizing the creek. They come in there for fresh water because the water quality has improved. They also come in there because the Army Corps of Engineers, finishing in 2014, dredged the estuary. It was so filthy that they required a hazmat certificate permit in order to do that. Then the city has also been mitigating pollution points all along the creek. I can't go, there's so many things that the city has done, it would take an hour, and you can look them up. Newer people don't realize this, but it's come a long way. Now, we've had groups of as many as 17 manatees at a time sighted, and they come in there for the fresh water. That's required by them. So anyway, I want to just say thanks for everything the city's done for 35 years. We've gotten so many manatees in there, we feel there's a need to protect them. It isn't like we have constant racing, but we get the occasional visitor to Clearwater on a jet ski or groups of them.
Thank you, Mr.
cruising
Foley.
through there. So that's the whole
Thank you.
picture from my point of view. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Foley.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hi, I'm Jerry Coles. I live on Overbrook with the creek directly behind me. I've been there about 10 years. And if you sit on my dock, it's quite beautiful, very peaceful. You can see the manatees, just as Mike mentioned. So this is not somebody's imagination or anything, but it's beautiful back there. I just want to keep it the way it is. I think a lot of excess boat traffic would really change that natural habitat. So I'm in support of this anyway. Just thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Next speaker.
I'll just get your card.
Hi, Kevin R.T. Laughlin. Do you need me to spell that for you? As you know, I am the chairman of the Clearwater Marine Advisory Board. For a number of years, excuse the acronym, but SCAG has come to us asking us just to put in no wake zones. We discourage them from pursuing that path because, if you know, Clearwater has more aids to navigation wake zones than any community in the state of Florida. Through Mike's diligence, around Christmas maybe, that he finally got done fixing all of our aids to navigation damage in the storms a year and a half ago. It took over a year. To add more was something that would have been a tough trail for us just to do. We want this. When they came to us and said, we're going to do a manatee study, we totally encouraged it. We wrote you a letter to endorse it, and I believe you followed up in letting Mr. McDonald go to the Fish and Wildlife Commission, who have been most cooperative. For Mike and Sherry, all the people at SCAG, this is a beautiful part, this estuary of our community. The things he said about the restoration have been critical. And I think that us speaking here is almost a moot point. I don't know why anybody would want to stand in the way of this happening. I have been there to witness it myself. As a matter of fact, I filmed there just a few days ago. We're very proud of this. Our little part, basically writing a letter. But we told them if we could have a no wake zone, we'd put it over by the Clearwater Yacht Club where people water ski right off all the boats there and do damage to their boats. That would be a priority. Maybe slowing down the boats in the Mandalay Channel where under 25 they can go. Some carefully worded messages to the people with those wakeboard boats that are under 25 feet but throw out a wake with their water ballast of a 40-foot boat so that people can wakeboard off them. These are things where maybe more important wake zones could be. But to do it through this method of saying manatees have returned. I've seen them myself, even just the other day. And going back to what Mike said, the Glen Oaks project, which was back, is that 25, 30 years ago, was a big step. The work of Clearwater Country Club of being more careful with their pesticides has really helped. We get the seagrass back in there. Things are going to be wonderful. So again, I think it's a moot point even to speak like this because everybody here knows that you guys are going to do the right thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
That's okay.
Hi, my name's Jeremy Reynolds. My address is 973 Cedarwood Avenue, Dunedin, Florida. You know, I've been coming to rooms like this one for about, over 10 years now. Most of the time, I'm the guy standing here going, "You're doing that wrong." So Give me just a moment to enjoy this while it lasts. Tonight, I'm here to tell you that you've got this right, and I'd like for you to pass this. Now, here's what I want you to picture. Stevenson's Creek is not some grand waterway. It's a muddy little finger of water running back behind houses that most of the city drives over every day without ever looking down. And in that creek, last year, researchers counted 27 manatee calves. 27, not passing through, but born there, nursing there, learning that creek the way your children learned your street. And here's the thing about a manatee. When a boat comes at one out in open water, she goes down. That's it. That's her whole defense. She sinks. It's the only trick she's got. But you can't sink in 3 feet of water. In Stevenson's Creek, there is no down. There is no out of the way. There's just a mother and her calf and water too shallow to hide in. And whatever comes around that bend is going to find them. Now, the state has drawn a slow speed water zone in these waters. And I want you to hear that when it stops right when it comes up to the harbor and runs right to the mouth of that creek, and it quits right there at the door. The protection goes up to the nursery and stops. And I'll tell you the other thing. Pinellas County has never adopted a manatee protection plan, not one. So there's no county rule coming to fix this, and there's no state line coming any further in. Nobody's going over the hill. This ordinance, this is the one on your agenda tonight. This is it. This is the whole cavalry. I've sat in a lot of these meetings where things in front of you were complicated and expensive, and half the room hated it. Now, this isn't that. This costs you almost nothing. It doesn't close the creek. It doesn't take anybody's boat. It just says, when you come into this water, come in slow. That's all. Come in slow. 27 calves, and all you have to do is not amend it, not study it another year, not send it back. Just pass it and get it up to Tallahassee while it still matters. Now, council members, I spent a decade telling you what the city got wrong. You got this one right, and I'm happy to see it.
So, any other speakers? If not, is there council discussion? Councilmember Menino.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for coming in and voicing your thoughts on this. It's always nice to have good, positive feedback, especially relating to all the work the city and staff has done to protect that beautiful waterway. And your shirt says it's a special place. There is no doubt Stevenson's Creek is a special place. Just a couple, I thank the city manager. I think since our first day in office, I've been having these discussions with you on the importance of this to me. So I thank you. Mr. McDonald, I want to thank you for your constant engagement and communications with the Stevenson's Creek Advisory Group. This has been a perfect example when public engagement matches staff collaboration, staff truly listening and facilitating a process that the citizens probably would not be able to manage on their own. You and staff did it into success. Wasn't an easy button, didn't happen overnight. I know we're still relying on FWC approval, so if they're listening, I hope they hear us. Let's get this approved, but this is a big step for the community and for Stevenson's Creek, so thank you to staff, and thank you for all the work you've done and Sherry's done in making this happen.
Councilmember Albritton.
Again, I want to mirror that and say thank you for coming in. And I've been a boater all my life, and I know that probably that area, most boats can't even get under the bridge. I think it's just skiffs and wave runners probably that get in there. But I'm all for this. I think it's a protected area. It's a beautiful area. I used to play there when I was a kid. So, yeah, I'd be for going forward with this.
Councilmember Teixeira.
You know, it's in human nature to express when someone is not happy, right? It's just much easier. So to have all of you come here to encourage us and support us and tell us that we're doing the right thing, I just want to let you know it's much appreciated. It's a breath of fresh air, actually, to hear all positive with nothing conflicting. So thank you so much for taking the time to convey a positive message.
Okay. Nobody wants to say they don't like manatees or they're going to vote against this.
This is an easy one.
This is your opportunity. So I think everyone loves manatees. So if no further discussion, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.6.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you for coming tonight, Cam. Move to agenda item 6.7.
Item 6.7 is being continued to a date uncertain. Mr. McDonald is going to go into detail as to why.
What is this?
Your item that you're continuing.
I think you all
Your item that you're continuing.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he explained it. It's because it.
I was like,
Trying
that's a
to
quick one
like,
for
you
my
know,
next
pitch
item.
it so you can just.
So, yeah, we're going to continue the next ordinance because of, you know, we have zones in place in that area now. FWC doesn't want overlapping zones. So this ordinance is to repeal those zones, but while we're getting it permitted and getting FWC permission, we want those zones to stay in place. So we're going to continue it until we get the permit.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Yeah. Agenda item 6.8.
Approve a purchase order increase to First Line Coastal LLC of Sarasota, Florida for design, bid, and construction administration services for the Police and Fire Department dock project in the amounts of $73,157.70, increasing the PO from $42,900 to $116,057.70 pursuant to request for qualifications 34-23 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Mayor, Council, this item requests approval of an increase to First Line Coastal's purchase order to complete the final design, permitting, bidding, and construction administration for the replacement of the police and fire dock. The facility is located in Clearwater Point and supports both our police marine patrol vessel and the fire department fireboat, providing direct access to Clearwater Pass and the Gulfside waterways of this city. The dock sustained significant damage during Hurricane Helene and has been operating at a reduced capacity. First Line Coastal completed a detailed inspection and damage assessment of the facility and developed a conceptual design for its reconstruction. The next phase will advance the conceptual design through final engineering and permitting, preparation of bid documents, and engineering support during construction. The reconstructed facility will restore the 3 vessel slips with new cable lifts and 2 finger piers that will include upgraded electrical service, safety lighting, handrails, and other safety improvements. We're also incorporating hazard mitigation measures to improve resiliency and elevate critical components where appropriate. The city has initiated a FEMA public assistance reimbursement request under the hurricane for eligible repair and hazard mitigation costs. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and so will Chief Gandy.
Anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to this agenda item? Okay. Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.8.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.9.
Approve amendment number 1 to joint participation agreement, JPA G3F99, between the City of Clearwater and the Florida Department of Transportation for the construction of corporate hangars at the Clearwater Executive Airport, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Mayor, Council, this item requests approval of amendment number 1 to our FDOT grant agreement for construction of new corporate hangars at Clearwater Executive Airport. The original agreement provided the first phase of funding for the project. This amendment adds to fiscal year 2027, providing an additional $600,000 in FDOT grant funding, and along with the required $600,000 local match. This brings the current grant agreement to $2.4 million, with FDOT funding 50% of eligible cost. Importantly, under the city's lease and operating agreement with FlyUSA, the required local match will be reimbursed to the city by FlyUSA, resulting in no net local financing impact to the city for those matching funds. The corporate hangars are part of our continued investment in Clearwater Executive Airport and will increase our ability to accommodate corporate aviation, generating additional airport revenue and support the airport's long-term financial sustainability. We will continue working with FDOT to pursue additional grant funding as the project advances. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Is there anyone here from the public that desires to speak to this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, is there any council discussion? Councilmember Menino.
Mayor, thank you. Just briefly, on a bigger note, the amount of work that staff puts into these grants lately has changed the last couple of years, and it's greatly appreciated for what it does to for the taxpayers, alleviating that burden, as well as a lot of our local community partners. This project alone, you said $2.4 million, and you're committed to searching for more. We're doing that across all of our departments to alleviate that burden on our taxpayers, and it's appreciated. So thank you, staff.
Any further discussion? If not, is there a motion?
No net is a good word. I move to approve agenda item 6.9.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. 6.10.
Authorize a purchase order to NWN Carousel Industries LLC of Los Angeles, California for telecommunications carrier services, SIP trunking, long-distance services, hardware, emergency backup services, and associated professional services supporting the city's Microsoft Teams telephone environment in a not-to-exceed amount of $177,426.42 pursuant to Clearwater Code of Ordinances, Section 2.563(1)(c), cooperative purchase, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Mayor, council members, city manager, we're replacing our telecommunications NOC. In 2023, we implemented Teams as our primary call service for telephony service citywide. PowerNet was one of the few vendors that was available at that time, and since then, a number of different companies have made themselves available. Carousel's nationally known. They run our 911 system for Pinellas County, and they'll have data centers, to Mr. Menino's previous question, in Las Vegas and Virginia. They have several others we can choose from, but that's what we get for this price. So that's pretty good. So I'll answer any other questions.
Okay. Does anyone here from the public desire to speak to this agenda? Hearing, seeing none, is there any council discussion or questions? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.10.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 6.11.
Approve acceptance of University of North Florida Training and Services Institute, Inc., doing business as Institute of Police Technology and Management, High Visibility Education and Support Program for Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Grant Award in the amounts of $30,439.90 for police overtime, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Evening, Mayor, Council, Eric Gandy, Chief of Police. It's tough to follow McDonald when he's getting millions in grants and approval for 30 grand, but we've been making it up over the years. So we've been receiving this grant since 2014, or various iterations of it. It's actually an FDOT grant. There's a reason I'm here before you tonight. It requires indemnification from council and your approval for that purpose. It's a pedestrian education and enforcement grant. It's pretty neat the way they do it. They require us to do some media, and we do pick a group of officers that show a talent for traffic and pedestrian enforcement, and then we train them. The first phases are education. The locations are chosen by FDOT based on crash data involving pedestrians, and then we go out and work those areas. So it's been very successful. They then take the data back to University of North Florida. We provide them regular reports, and they compile the data and look at it against the crash data, excuse me. And I think it's been a really productive endeavor on our part annually, make thousands of stops related to these things and educate the public. I think we're going to start seeing an uptick with the proliferation of e-bikes and e-bike citations and enforcement. For whatever reason, there's the belief that the traffic laws don't apply to them because they ride all over the place. So we'll see how it goes. I'll be interesting to see the stats when this concludes. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay. Anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to this agenda? If not, is there any council discussion? Well, we appreciate $30,000. It's $30,000. But I'd also like to say, I mean, it's an important point that, you know, we have vehicle, pedestrian, bicycle crashes in Pinellas County are way too high, but some of it, or a lot of it, is on the pedestrian and the bicycle rider. It's not only the vehicles, it's the folks who are crossing where they shouldn't cross and driving bicycles or riding bicycles, you know, aggressively or inappropriately, or crossing in dark clothing in places that they shouldn't be. So I think this is a good project to educate everyone who can help prevent these accidents.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we do see. A lot of pedestrians crossing mid-block, out of the crosswalks without a light at night, some intox, and those are overrepresented in our fatal numbers.
Yeah. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
So with that, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.11.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.12.
Adopt ordinance 26-774, accept ordinance 26-748, an interlocal agreement gas franchise with the city of Port Richey in order for Clearwater Gas Energy to continue to provide natural gas services to the citizens of Port Richey and adopt resolution 26-14.
Good evening.
Sorry about that. Words are hard.
Good evening. Brian Langhill, Executive Director for CGS Energy. This is another franchise agreement with the city of Port Richey. You all approved the franchise with New Port Richey a couple months ago, not to be confused with that city, that neighboring city. The contract provisions are all the same within the franchise. It goes for 30 years. That allow us to extend our lines, serve customers for the next 30 years, where we have exclusive rights within our defined system territory within their city. The only difference with this franchise is that they're collecting a 5%. We're going to remit a 5% fee to them versus a 6%. Other than that, all the provisions remain the same. Happy to answer any questions.
May we have a reading?
Resolution number 26-14, a resolution of the City of Clearwater, Florida, accepting the franchise, privilege, and concession of the City of Port Richey, Florida, for the purpose of furnishing gas within the City of Port Richey and to its inhabitants, providing an effective date.
Anyone here from the public tonight that desires to speak to item 6.12? Hearing, seeing none, any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.12.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.13.
Approve the amended and restated interlocal agreement between the City of Clearwater and the Tampa Bay Estuary Program, including annual funding contributions in the cumulative amount of $100,260 through fiscal year 2031, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Evening, Mayor, council members. Marcus Williamson, Public Works Director. This is the third amendment to our Tampa Bay Estuary Program interlocal. In the spirit of grants, they did just give us one that pays for more than this entire period. So some good things helping us with our water quality in this agreement, and definitely enjoying participating.
Okay. Anyone here from the public tonight who desires to speak to agenda item 6.13? You're seeing none, any council discussion? Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you, sir. As the board member who sits on this Tampa Bay Estuaries program, Marcus already hit the nail on the head. For the $100,000 that they're asking us to invest, just a few of the quick ongoing projects. We've got 2 mini grants that support the Adopt a Drain program and improvements that are going on in Moccasin Lake. We have an ongoing $9.5 million FDEP restoration design, permit, and implement for stormwater improvements within the old Tampa Bay watershed. We also have $240,000, which are going to the water quality of Tampa Bay to maintain those regulatory standards. And lastly, it's a pending contract, and the draft is with the city currently for $454,000 to help advance Cooper Bayou's water quality and habitat improvement projects. So for the $100,000 investment, the Tampa Bay Estuary Programs is definitely doing its best for our natural environment and for the beautification of this wonderful area that we live in to continue keeping it great. So just wanted to give those statistics before going into that, so thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Mayor, just real quick, wanted to say that is a great board. I have had the privilege once. You've only given me one privilege to sit in for you, and staff does an amazing job, and I appreciate your service and leadership on that board, Mr. Bell.
Well, you're not the lowest, but the most, but I mean, we appreciate that. Appreciate $100,000. Thank you for your work. Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Okay, with that, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.13.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.14.
Ratify and confirm an increase of the purchase order with EnviroTrack LLC of Tampa, Florida for disaster debris management of Marymount Park Restoration Project in the amount of $23,356, increasing the purchase order from $82,390 to $105,746, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Council. I'm Joe DeSico with Public Works. Following hurricanes Helene and Milton, the city used Marymount Park as a disaster debris management site for staging and processing storm-related debris. In February 2025, the city manager approved a $25,000 work order to EnviroTrack for DEP-required site evaluation, debris characterization, and reporting. In May 2025, the city manager approved supplemental work order number 1 for $57,390 to remove debris, impacted soil, and asphalt millings, and to rough grade the site. More detailed field inspections confirmed that the disposal quantities exceeded the initial estimates and have required additional containers and hauling. Supplemental work order number 2 for $27,850 increased the authorized project budget to $110,205. After applying $4,459 in savings, the project is expected to close at $105,746. Any questions?
Anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to agenda item 6.14? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.14.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 6.15.
Approve a work order to Mead and Hunt, Inc. of Tampa, Florida for design and construction engineering services for the RO1 sodium hypochlorite new structure project in the amount of $483,749 pursuant to RFQ 34-23 engineer of record consulting services, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Fred Hemrick. I'm a water production manager with Public Utilities. So we're asking for you to approve this work order to Mead and Hunt for a replacement of the structure that holds our sodium hypochlorite. And so in the early 2000s, all of our water plants, they were switched from gas chlorine to bleach, so known as sodium hypochlorite. When they made that switch, we didn't really have any level of containment or spill protection. So what we're doing is we're getting that system out of the building, we're getting it into proper containment, and we're updating that system to modern standards. So there's a lot that's covered by this work order, both design and construction inspection services, and I'm here to answer any questions you have about it.
Is anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to agenda item 6.15? You see none, is there any council discussion? Councilmember Albritton.
I think when I first got elected to council, I went around and looked at all the facilities and never knew where the water was because you guys are hidden, and probably for good reason, but I mean, it looked like something out of NASA. I mean, it's an amazing plant you guys do over there, and I wouldn't have the slightest idea of what you do with water, but I just know the end result is it comes out where everybody can drink it and it's safe. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay. Okay, is there a motion then?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.15.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, sir. Agenda item 6.16.
Approve a work order to McKim and Creed of Tampa, Florida for engineering consulting services related to the development of SCADA and PLC standards and policies in the amount of $266,796 pursuant to RFQ 34-23 engineer of record consulting services, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I try to make these as short as possible for you, so by the end of this whole thing, you're done, I understand. Today I'm requesting your approval for work order 26-0030-UT to McKim and Creed of Tampa, Florida, in the amount of $266,796 pursuant to RFQ 34-23, an authorization for the appropriate officials to execute the same. As the department prepares to replace our existing SciTech SCADA system with VT SCADA across our water, wastewater, and lift station facilities, this 245 calendar day project will establish essential SCADA and PLC standards, including tagging conventions, programming practices, cybersecurity protocols, and staff workshops to ensure system consistency, maintainability, and efficiency. Funding this effort is available through our Water and Sewer Utility Enterprise Fund, capital improvement projects, and this action directly supports our strategic plan to achieve a high-performing government by maintaining public infrastructure through systematic management efforts, and I am happy to field any questions.
Is there anyone here from the public who desires to speak to agenda item 6.16? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? Not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.16.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 6.17.
Approve a work order to Mead and Hunt, Inc. of Tampa, Florida for design and construction engineering services for the RO1 Residuals Handling Improvements Project in the amount of $214,156 $6.70 pursuant to RFQ 34-23 Engineer of Record Consulting Services, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Fred Hemrick, Water Production Manager with Public Utilities. So we're asking for your approval of this work order to Mead and Hunt for the RO1 Residuals Handling Improvement Project. Basically, what this project does is it replaces our two decant tanks. The decant tanks, they collect water from filter backwashes. Filters get dirty while we're treating water, reverse the flow, fills up the tanks, and it collects that water and clarifies it, and then we recycle about 80% of that water back into the process. So these tanks, they originally went in 2012. It's really challenging service conditions because they get a lot of grit, a lot of solids, and we've seen some pretty severe corrosion of the interior of them, and the coatings are basically gone. There's not a lot of good options for refurbishment, so we're looking to have this engineering consultant design and then supervise the construction of replacement of this important system.
Okay. Anyone here from the public desire to speak to this agenda item? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.17.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item, thank you, sir. Agenda item 6.18.
Approve a work order with Black & Veatch of Tampa, Florida for implementation of full-scale pilot testing at the Marshall Street Water Reclamation Facility in the not-to-exceed amounts of $376,192 pursuant to RFQ 34-23, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Travis Stuber, and I serve as the wastewater treatment manager for the City of Clearwater Public Utilities Department. We are requesting approval to fund the project with Black & Veatch. This project is a full-scale pH adjustment test pilot project at the Marshall Street Water Reclamation Facility, and a not-to-exceed amount of $376,192. The work is intended to address elevated byproduct formation in the facility's disinfection product. This is a pilot project and testing effort which will evaluate whether the pH adjustment can reduce the formation of these byproducts under actual operating conditions. Funds are available from the Marshall Street Plan R&R accounts, which is ultimately funded by the Water and Sewer Utility Enterprise Fund revenues. This item supports the city's strategic priority plan, high-performance government, by maintaining critical wastewater infrastructure, addressing community safety issues, and innovating by evaluating a novel treatment strategy before committing to a permanent solution system. I appreciate your time and consideration in this matter, and I'm willing to address any questions you may have.
Okay. Is anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to agenda item 6.18? You're seeing none, is there any council discussion? If there's none, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.18.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 6.19.
Authorize a purchase order to Evoqua Water Technologies LLC for the purchase of one Evoqua Water Technologies complete water chemical induction unit with accessories and two replacement units in the amounts of $155,387 pursuant to Clearwater Code of Ordinances Section 2.563, Paren 1, Paren A, single source, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening again, council members, mayor. This request is to approve a fund for a purchase order from Xylem/Evoqua for the water champ chemical induction unit and 2 replacement units. The primary unit will be installed at the Northeast Water Reclamation Facility and will mirror a unit that we already have installed at our Marshall Street Water Reclamation Facility, and will furnish 2 replacement units to provide critical backup support. Our large treatment facility unit, like I said, already is installed at Marshall Street, and this purchase will standardize the equipment across both of our facilities, which supports consistent maintenance practices and helps reduce downtime. Funds are available in the Northeast and Marshall Street capital improvement project accounts, which are ultimately funded by the Water and Sewer Utility Enterprise Fund revenues. This item supports the city's strategic priority of high-performance government by maintaining vital public infrastructure and supporting safe, reliable wastewater treatment operations. I appreciate your time and consideration, and I will address any questions you may have at this time.
Anyone here from the public that I desire to speak to agenda item 6.19? Hearing seen none, any council discussion? Other than water is dominating the agenda tonight. Yeah. But important, as Councilmember Albritton pointed out, and we're fortunate to have a great water department and great water here in Clearwater.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.19.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 6.20.
Approve a professional service agreement with Black & Veatch of Tampa, Florida to assist the implementation of Florida Senate Bill 64 plan in the not-to-exceed amount of $19 million for a 5-year term pursuant to request for qualifications 08-25 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Mike Fleming, Public Utilities Director. Today I'm requesting approval for a professional services agreement with Black & Veatch of Tampa, Florida to assist in implementing our Florida State Senate Bill 64 plan in the amount not to exceed of $19 million over a 5-year term pursuant to RFQ 08-25 and authorization for appropriate officials to execute the same. To satisfy state requirements mandating the elimination of non-beneficial effluent surface water discharges by January 1st, 2032, the city submitted its implementation plan pursuant to Section 403.064 Florida statutes, which received formal FDEP approval on May 2nd, 2022. Following competitive evaluation responses received on March 19, 2025 under RFQ 08-25, Black & Veatch was selected as the top-ranked firm to provide comprehensive engineering design, permitting, CEI, and program management, supported by an estimated first-year budget of $4 million from the Water and Sewer Utility Enterprise Fund. This project directly aligns with high-performing government by modifying and improving municipal infrastructure to adhere to FDEP regulatory laws while reinforcing environmental stewardship through environmental risk reduction and sustainable water resource management. I'm happy to respond to any questions that you may have.
Okay. Is anyone here from the public tonight that desires to speak to agenda item 6.20? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? Councilmember Albritton.
Okay, so we got $19 million there, right?
That's
the
correct.
winner today, I think, but is this for tell me exactly what we're doing with $19 million.
Absolutely. So the first step in this is really this task 1 here, this deep injection well. This is what a lot of our neighbors are doing. There's actually an article in the paper, I believe, today about this. The city of Largo is doing this currently. The estimate for their deep injection well for the construction of it is roughly $30 million. So we're going to have a capital outlay, something like that as well, that would come later, because this is just the design portion of it. So in addition to it, we're going to have a lot of construction that's going to go along with that. So the first step to make sure that we meet this unfunded mandate is this step 1 for the deep injection well. The annual reporting is ongoing. We're continuing. We've actually used Black & Veatch previously for the annual reporting. We're going to continue using them. However, we're going to utilize this contract mechanism going forward with that. If you look at task 3, the implementation, so that's going to be the implementation of what are we going to do in addition to. You'll see a number of strategies there that are listed. So it's going to be the implementation of what are these strategies going to look like. Are we going to look at expansion of the reclaim system? Are we going to look at looping the reclaim system? Are we going to increase reclaim customers? Are we going to look at direct potable, where we're providing that as a water source for one of our water facilities? Are we going to look at, as down below, So you look at some of these options that are out here for strategy designs also, if we can show that there's a beneficial use to a surface water, let's say, for example, you approved something to protect manatees, and we determined that us continuing to provide water to Stevenson Creek would help protect those manatees, we would be able to put that forward as a project. So this would allow us to evaluate what options are out there for us to continue pursuing that are appropriate. So this is really the design portion of it. I understand it is expensive, it is an unfunded mandate, but we are going to proceed forward the best we can to meet that unfunded mandate.
Is this part of our 10-year plan, or is it run side by side with it, kind of?
It's side by side, but it's obviously there's a lot of overlay, and that's a great question, by the way. What we're going to do is we're going to work towards meeting that right now. With this plan, we have to meet it by 2031. So we have to run them side by side. We won't be able to run them in conjunction because that won't be completed in time for us to be able to do it just out of the one facility. However, in that lens, we need the ability throughout the system to have that redundancy. So if we were to have a solution potentially right now with the reclaim system, we have tanks throughout the system. We have Skycrest, we have a reclaimed water tank there. We also have a reclaimed water tank at Northeast and at our Marshall Street facility. We would need to be able to have that pressure throughout the system and to be able to have these assets throughout the city. So there is some aspects where there is overlay, however, there's aspects that are not.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.20.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 6.21.
Approve a change order to Razorback LLC to extend the project completion date by 150 calendar days from June 19, 2026 through November 16, 2026, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mike Flannery, Public Utilities Director. Today I'm requesting your approval for a change order for Razorback LLC to extend the project completion date by 150 calendar days from June 19, 2026 through November 16, 2026 for wellhead piping modifications at the reverse osmosis water treatment plant number 2 and to authorize the appropriate officials to execute the same. This is a no-cost extension necessary to accommodate manufacturing and transit delays experienced by Flowtech for the modulating flow control valve, allowing sufficient time for installation testing project closeout without increasing the original $213,888.40 contract amount. This action directly supports our strategic plan to achieve high-performing government by maintaining public infrastructure through systematic management efforts. I'm happy to respond to any questions you may have.
You want to hear from the public tonight, desire to speak to agenda item 6.21. Hearing seen none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.21.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Agenda item 6.22.
Approve a work order with Carollo Engineers, Inc. of Tampa, Florida for implementation of a PFAS removal pilot study at the RO1 water treatment facility in the not-to-exceed amount of $273,804 pursuant to RFQ 34-23, engineer of record, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Fred Hemrick, Water Production Manager with Public Utilities. So we're asking for your approval to enter into a work order with Carollo Engineers for implementation of a PFAS pilot removal study focused on the RO1 water treatment plant. So this particular consultant, Carollo, they have a lot of experience with PFAS treatment, and the study is intended to answer two questions. First is what can we do now that may help us remove PFAS from the water? And second, what does a long-term solution look like? What do we need to think about, and what are likely future costs for PFAS removal? So PFAS, if you're unaware, they are a class of synthetic chemicals that have become of increasing concern over the past decade. They're found in many bodies of water. They originally were manufactured 3M and DuPont. They were a key component in firefighting foams, Scotchgard, many different products out there had it, and they're found commonly in drinking water. So this study is going to address that and put us on the path for future compliance with regulations that we know are coming in 2027 and beyond.
Is anyone here from the public that desires to speak to this agenda item? Hearing seeing none, discussion from Vice Mayor first.
Yes, sir, thank you. Fred, thank you very much for that. Just maybe 2 or 3 questions here. I saw that the core tasks 1 through 4 totaling roughly 158,000 just over, while there's another additional just roughly 90,000 is optional for bench scale testing. What was this, I didn't see, what was the specific finding that you would need to find that triggers that 90 grand?
Well, we already know a lot about the PFAS concentrations in the source water, which is wells. Wells are our source of water. What we don't know is how well our water treatment process at RO1 performs. In addition, we have 3 water treatment plants. Our RO1 seems to be the plant that is receiving more of the PFAS from source water. The wells are shallower. Older. It's one of the older facilities. RO2, which uses deeper sources, more brackish water, saltier water, it does not have the same concentrations. In addition, there's differences in the treatment process. So RO1 is really the focus. There are existing systems that may be able to be retrofitted at a reasonable cost at that treatment plant. Specifically, there's a filtration system, we call it the arsenic adsorbers. We just don't know, and that's where the pilot study comes in with this, and that's where we think that contingency is.
Okay, so through the consulting firm, essentially, if they
Yes.
say they found this one trigger, then that 90,000 would kick into effect to find the solution and those
It
types
is,
of things?
and testing for PFAS, it's one of the more expensive tests, generally $480 a sample for each individual sample, it's way more than other parameters.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Lastly, I saw within the documentation that we have submitted under the PFAS drinking water class action settlements to offset some of this. What, in your best guess, what do you think we'll get? Or are we going to be looking at a $20 check at the end of this?
I have seen numbers that have 6 digits and 7 digits that we just don't know. And I'll tell you that that information is coming soon. The deadline to submit claims was July 1st. Our claim is in. The portal shows it is under review. There is one additional deadline they call it the special needs claim. That is due on August 1st, and we believe after August 1st, that's when we'll really be looking for that information to come back from the firm that is running that claim.
Fantastic. Thank you, Fred. I don't have anything further.
Anyone else? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.22.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 6.23.
Approve an employment agreement with Owen Kohler, appointing him as city attorney and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Sure.
Yes, still.
Last chance.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tiffany Macros, Human Resources Director. At the July 16th, 2026 council meeting, council unanimously selected Owen Kohler for the role of the city attorney. Outside counsel has drafted the negotiated employment agreement for Mr. Kohler's appointment, and I'm happy to present it to you this evening for your approval, and I'm available for any questions.
Is there anyone here from the public tonight that desires to speak to this agenda item? Seeing none, is there any council discussion? No discussion, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.23.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you and welcome.
Yes, welcome.
I appreciate everything. I'm looking very forward to this. I'm very excited. I'm hoping to do a great job for you all.
Well, we have a lot of confidence in you, and that's the reason we're entering into this. So congratulations and welcome to our team. Officially. You've been part of our team, but now officially as a city attorney. Okay, with that, we'll move to item 7 on the agenda. Are there any citizens here tonight who Want to be heard?
Mr. Laughlin?
Excuse me. Hello again, Kevin R.T. Laughlin. I originally only planned on coming to this meeting to bask in the glory of our earlier manatee protection zone, but then I was asked by Dr. Lawrence Jarvik to accompany him here because he wanted to speak in front of you. I met him earlier this month at a housing authority meeting at the Hampton Independent Living Facility, that he was there to represent his 96-year-old mother, who, fortunately, he lives right here in Clearwater, was able to stay with him during the debacle in June and July, where they went weeks without air conditioning in the building. He spoke at that meeting against the paltry retribution that they were giving him of 25% of a month's rent and 7 meal vouchers, considering his mother was with them for 3 weeks. Many people went other places. 5 people went to the hospital. A 100-year-old woman did not return. And not only was he insulted by the 25% for a housing authority that during that same meeting was looking at their budget and seeing how much money they had made, but he brought other things to my attention that concerned me. The meeting was held on the 2nd floor at what used to be a community room and now is apparently the housing authority's boardroom. I noticed that they were transferring things between there and one of the apartments, but he corrected me later, it's not 1 or 2 apartments, that they have taken over 5 apartments on the 2nd floor of that building as their offices. I went back the next day to ask some questions and was told that we will be calling the police if you don't leave. I have that on film if you would like. This is a catastrophe. This is the people that we're really here to support, our seniors. Unfortunately, Betty, Dr. Jarvik's mother-in-law, at 96 years old, her health took a turn for the worse today. He says she's okay, but it prohibited him from coming here, and I told him that I would step up and relay his thoughts. I'm sure there's a letter available that he gave to them. I did come here to the Affordable Housing Board just a week or so ago and express these same concerns to them. They did not get back to me, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. I think there is something mysterious going on here. They have no waiting list for the housing authority. If you go to their website, they have maybe 5 2-1s available, but they are taking over apartments and 5 apartments and a community room in that building where we should be housing our seniors. So I wanted to bring it to your attention, and I hope that I hear more on this.
Thank you, Mr. Laughlin. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Fred Cohen?
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. My name is Fred Cohen. I'm a 2020 transplant here to Clearwater, ultimately retiring from the Army in 2024 after a little over 2.5 decades. I really enjoy the outdoor spaces the city provides. This is especially true because of our great outdoor public spaces. I'm here tonight to bring attention to a safety concern on the Druid Trail, particularly the section between Keene Road and Fort Harrison Street. I have already brought this concern to the city through the online portal a few months ago and have not received a reply or seen an improvement to the trail. There are numerous low-hanging branches along this portion of the trail. They're creating a real hazard for the people who use it every day: bicyclists, pedestrians, runners, e-bike riders, and other trail users who are constantly having to duck, swerve, and or move out of the way to avoid being struck by branches. For bicyclists in particular, this can be extremely dangerous when somebody suddenly has to duck their head or swerve to avoid a branch where they could lose control of their bicycle, which nearly happened to me, by the way, collide with another trail user, and or have to leave the trail to suddenly enter the roadway. The Druid Trail should be a safe place for residents and visitors to walk, run, and or ride. People shouldn't have to constantly anticipate whether a branch is going to hit them in the head and force them to make a sudden maneuver. I'm asking the City Council to please have this section of the trail inspected and have the low-hanging branches properly trimmed back or removed when necessary. Secondly, I'm here to ask you to consider a small but meaningful improvement to the dog park at Crestview Lake Park, upgrading the existing benches to include overhead covers. I have brought this concern to the city through the online portal a few months back and have, quite honestly, I don't like the answer no. I'm not sure if anyone has informed you, but Florida can be extremely hot in the summertime. Especially during those summer months, dog owners spend a lot of time at the parks while their pets play, and having a shaded place to sit would make the experience much more comfortable. An overhead cover above the benches next to the water spout in the all sizes section of the dog park would help protect the people from the intense Florida sun and provide relief to the heat while they supervise and enjoy time with their dogs. Shading isn't the only benefit. Florida weather could change very quickly, and covered benches would also provide protection from the rain and other inclement weather, including having to leave the park when the shower comes through. Visitors could simply take the shelter under the cover seating. This is a relatively simple improvement that could make the dog park way more comfortable, accessible, and enjoyable for the residents who use it. I respectfully ask the Clearwater Council to consider adding an overhead cover to the existing benches in the all sizes section of the dog park next to the water spout in the Crestview Lake Dog Park. Thank you for your time and consideration, and please, I like what you guys did with the manatees.
Perfect timing, yeah. Thank you for your service to our country. Okay, with that, is there anyone else to speak tonight? Okay. With that, we will move to item 8 on the agenda, City Manager reports.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just have 2 things. One, I wanted to let everybody know that our dashboard that communicates how a potential $20 million reduction in revenue could impact the city services that we provide is live. We discussed that at our special budget work session, and thank you to all the teams that worked together on getting that done, including legal for their review. But that is live now. Also wanted to remind council and our stakeholders and community that we are currently in a soft hiring freeze. We have about 70 positions that have been frozen, and so just as a reminder about the service levels impacts that could occur, our website does speak to that as well. And so just as a reminder, our team is working really hard, takes a great amount of pride in keeping those service levels up, but with the number of positions that we do have being held vacant, there are going to be some impacts to those service levels. And on that note, we have a really incredible team, and I know that the council is very appreciative of that, and we do a good job at recognizing as our employees come up here and the work that they do. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes where we have team members that go above and beyond on a very regular basis, and I want to make sure that we do a better job of highlighting all those things. And so I've got a short example for you today. Over the past year, one of our engineering specialists, Samantha Riley, and the Public Works team have been working on the historic Overbrook Avenue Luton Bridge. So I think you all know that that bridge is about to turn 100 years old as of this October, but it's actually in the process of being replaced. And rather than just having that bridge be destroyed and the portions of that bridge being taken away and as trash, the team has worked with the Historical Society and Heritage Village, and they will be taking some of the ballasts from that bridge and the plaques, and they will be displayed in both of those areas. And so that was above and beyond some extra work that went into that, but really grateful for the team for taking the time and the energy to do something like that. So a historic piece of our history that is impactful is preserved and will be kept in those areas. So I just wanted to say thank you to the team and provide some additional recognition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to item 9, City Attorney reports.
Nothing to add, sir.
Okay. Item 10.1. Councilmember Menino, I think that's...
That is me. Thank you, Mayor. If you don't mind, it was kind of requested that I just briefly take a minute or two, just give a little quick kind of 101 overview of density reserve pool, where it came from, how it started. I would like to then move into kind of framing the opportunity and what I feel is a responsibility in front of us as a council as we move forward with development on Clearwater Beach as specific to our hotel density reserve pool and beach by design. So bear with me and I'll be as quick and efficient as possible. Clearwater Beach Hotel Density Reserve Pool emerged from the city's broader Beach by Design initiative, which was a comprehensive redevelopment strategy adopted way back in 2001. After several years of professional studies, planning, a lot of public input, and it dated back to 1997. This extensive evaluation was based on physical conditions of our beach, the infrastructure, parking capacity, transportation network, economic competitiveness, and long-term tourism viability. The resulting design sought to modernize the aging beach and community we had in front of us, but find a way to still preserve its status as of one of Florida's premier visitors' destinations. A significant concern was identified at this time, as there was a steady loss. Some of us that have been here dated back to then. I don't want to date us, but we remember the mom and pops hotels, and those were steadily disappearing. It was being steered by the residential market, and they were turning into residential condominium units. The erosion of this hotel inventory was threatening our tourism economy that had long been served as a foundation for not just Clearwater Beach, but the entire city of Clearwater. Thus, the hotel density incentive as part of Beach by Design was established. Let's keep in mind that this framework was established not as an isolated granted density, but as part of a carefully planned redevelopment strategy created through years of study and public engagement. Fast forward 23 years today, and for more than 2 decades, Beach by Design has transformed Clearwater Beach into one of America's premier destinations. Today, I believe we're entering into its final chapter. I think we've all had those discussions before. And I think we have an opportunity and a responsibility in front of us to kind of transition from what has been a growth strategy in years previous into a legacy strategy. With only a limited number of reserve density units remaining, obviously we've heard numbers of 19, we know how flexible it is, we have all had those discussions where 100 may come back and put us at different numbers, we get that, but we have a responsibility to ensure that every one of those that we have remaining delivers exceptional public value. The remaining opportunities should not simply just be there to reward development or to promote hands in a cookie jar and grabbing 2 or 3 here and 1 or 2 there. They should work to complete the vision, and the vision that originated in Beach by Design over 23 years ago. There are some holes and gaps, and I think we've all had those discussions, and we don't need to send staff on more than 8 hours of work and give the direction of giving us a comprehensive plan of where those gaps are. I think we know the beach is pretty much fully developed, and I think East Shore is probably the gap that the original vision is seeing on East Shore, and there are a couple opportunities of development there, as well as missing assets of connectivity, beautification, mobility, as well as the boardwalk on the intercoastal, where unfortunately there currently are some gaps as well. I think our focus now, we have an opportunity to incentivize projects that truly enhance the resiliency, improve those public spaces, and strengthen our economy while leaving a lasting legacy for generations to come. I think the final pages of Beach by Design have the opportunity to be its strongest, and I think that opportunity and responsibility is upon us. So my discussion was originally supposed to be at a work session. Obviously, we did not have a work session, and we'd go directly into a council meeting, so I asked it to be today. What my thought process was, and we'll open it up to a discussion, is we don't necessarily need a comprehensive plan, like I said, but let's maybe establish a tone, maybe establish a bit of direction from us as a dais and sending the message out that while staff has an obligation to take in applications and to allow those requests to ask, we don't have an obligation to grant that density. And I think we strategically should sit on those incentives and truly find that project that helps us fulfill that vision, that helps give us the most public use and adds to our public assets, If 100 come back in, 119 units as of today puts a beautiful medium-sized hotel in one shot, helps connect the boardwalk, and we put in assets that may help connectivity and sidewalks versus just seeing them sporadically disappear. So my questions to the dais is if we agree, or even if we disagree in a discussion, is that we take that tone and we kind of move forward with discussions on hotel pool density reserves, on shifting just growth and development into that legacy, and let's truly be a bit more strategic on how we grant that density reserve pool going forward, and truly put the final chapter in what has been an unbelievably successful plan. We have the ability to really close it out and put a great seal and a stamp on it. So that's kind of the discussion I wanted to have. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yeah, this is my question, and I agree with you 100%. I always thought that East Shore completion of the boardwalk and the connection to the park that Clearwater did a beautiful job on years ago would be a great way to finish off the density pool. My question is to our city attorney. Do we need, I mean, what would council need to put something together like that? And how would we word it where it would be legal?
So I think speaking with staff, I think that's one of the things we wanted to look into, and also wanted to find if there's some type of direction from council. What do you want us to look into? Do you want us to look into being strategic such as that? And if we would have to amend the plan, or?
Yeah,
And I'm saying we could do it without amending the plan, but you want us to look into that. I guess that's the question. Just,
and I think that's where a little bit where I'm lost too, is what's our goal here? Because I think there are only 19 units unallocated currently. So we're really trying to have an impact. We're trying to anticipate that some might come back in. And having lived out there a long time, I kind of know where they've been allocated on what lots. But I think it would be good for us all to take a look at where are the units allocated, but yet construction hasn't begun on those, just to know,
Where there might
kind
be
of what we're
potential.
looking at.
Yeah.
To your point, I don't know how many are still along East Shore. But I know there are other spots, 2 spots on South Beach where there are a significant number that have been allocated, but no construction has started. So I'm not opposed to doing that kind of review, but I think we need to give staff a little bit more guidance on exactly what we're trying to accomplish at the end of it. So that's just my thoughts. So, Councilmember Teixeira?
I always appreciate being strategic, right? The only concern I have is logistically, how we're going to do that. There's a lot of moving parts, including the process and the legality behind that, so I do want to see how we can navigate through that. But I also would like to know, sort of like an update, how many are lingering, and maybe have an opinion expressed about how many of those you think is going to come to fruition. Just so that we know what we're dealing with. Are we dealing with 50? Are we dealing with 200? It's certainly going to help us navigate what kind of strategy to go forward with.
Well, my understanding is you aren't going to get much of a project like a hotel unless it's right around 120 units. A hotel's not going to build less than that. They usually start at 120 and go up. That's the only reason I'd like to strategically, and I know we don't have 100, but if you watch it, I mean, they go back and forth. So I think if we could just put a net up somehow and catch, you know what I'm saying? At least 120 units, we could say, okay, well, this is where we'd like to have them finish off in that particular spot. That's just my opinion.
I would say this too, that, we've had citizens come in and express concerns about the pool and all that. And I've had citizens, beach residents, talk to me about it. And I share with them that, you have to be careful that you're not asking for a consequence that you didn't intend. Because if your concern is hotels and unit development, what you could be, is you could be incentivizing these folks to act more quickly to make sure they don't go back into the pool, and to start construction faster, and to increase the problem that really is your daily problem, is you density and the traffic congestion and all that. So that could be, I tell folks, that could be an unintended consequence. By discouraging people from putting them back in the pool, you may actually encourage them to build faster, construct faster. So they don't have to release them back into the pool. That could be the negative on it. Councilmember Menino?
Yeah, I appreciate the discussion. That's why it came up. I think it's important. I have talked to both developers of the projects on South Beach and the base of Sankey Bridge. There is a large number allocated there. There's no doubt from the developer at some point they will be using those and they will develop. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. As far as the other one, Mayor, I do believe from the direction I'm giving, we may see 100 units put back in. That puts us at that 100 rate. Please, again, tell me if I'm talking wrong, but this is the communications I've had leading up to today's discussion. And that project may turn into something else. Therefore, 100 go in, and that's puts us at that 119 space, exactly what you're saying. So the discussion why this was started wasn't necessarily to give staff the direction to create some resolution, to create some framework of how we want to do. I think it's important that we still have the flexibility that if a project comes, it's not on East Shore, if it really checks a lot of boxes, we should have that flexibility to move forward on it. But maybe just taking an understanding as a group of a snapshot of where we are, whether it's 19, what could be 119, and this is one of the last final opportunities that we may have for a one unit, 119, 120 room density pool, a medium-sized hotel that can go in the very gaps that we're discussing and help fill the Papaya Park boardwalk, sidewalks, and some other community assets. So I didn't necessarily want to create legal changes to Beach by Design. I don't know if we need to do that. I think it was more an understanding of us in the dais, formulating some kind of strategy or thought process that we're saying publicly, and staying some kind of committed as a dais on that vision that, listen, if it sat for 2 or 3 years and we don't get the project that we truly believe closes this, then we don't award any. We don't have that obligation. We can truly wait, as the council member, the vice mayor brought up the other day, maybe pausing until a traffic study. Well, if the perfect project that we believe comes, he's 100% correct. That's where we should take a bit of a pause, make sure we get that right project, and be strategic, as the word that's been said several times. Let's be strategic with that incentivizing and where that goes, and closing some of that visions, versus if we don't have this discussion like we're doing, that there's already some in the pipeline that may grab 5 here, 6 here, and then we're not going to have that opportunity to close some of those gaps that we have over there.
Well, I wouldn't disagree that, we're doing the study with Fort Pinellas on the traffic flow on South Beach, and I've said many times that, from my personal experience out there, that's the bottleneck. And so you just mentioned 2, which I know there are units, significant number allocated to those 2 places. I mean, we'd be adding significant units onto a portion of the beach where we already have a significant traffic problem. So, if we could, one of those 2 projects, the one you're talking about, I know the location, if we could move that to the northern part, that would make some sense. I just, I'm concerned, legally, what our ability to do that is. And I think it would be helpful for all 5 of us to know what you just shared. You understand where the units are already allocated and what their timeline is for when the development agreement expires, when they have to do something. Because the one you're talking about, we extended that for them, I believe, a year or so ago. And I think just kind of having a map and seeing where they're at, that'd be helpful for further discussion. And then maybe some guidance just for legal for the. on what we could or couldn't do. I would agree with that.
Sorry, Mayor, do you mind? Is there something, any legal question that you see if we were just taking a posture or a tone without trying to change a plan? We have that flexibility.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the things that came up. I wanted to find out exactly where you are, because the last couple of meetings, it's don't be strategic, be strategic. And if you are, then Lauren and I can certainly, or sorry, Ms. Matzke and I can look into it. I just want to make sure we're okay.
Yeah, I guess my kind of question is, you know, one of the questions I would have is whether or not we can control them transferring to somebody else within the pool. I mean, they don't have to put them back in, do they? I mean, we can't restrict, if they have the right to transfer them, they have the right to transfer, right?
No, the hotel development agreements are specific to the project that was approved conceptually by council and then also by the community development board. If the units are not used by that project, they are automatically returned to.
And that's why the one we just approved tonight, that they had to apply for those units that
Correct.
got returned, yeah. They just knew they were there, so they got on it quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They're a monitored commodity.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I just want to make sure from our staff perspective that we understand what, from a consensus that's being asked, is to just provide an updated count of how many remain that have been allocated but not used and the date into which that allocation expires. Is that accurate?
I think so.
If it's not too, if it's not too hard for me, I'd like to see the map. You know, I think
Great.
that's helpful for sure.
I was kind of hearing a map, maybe instead of the table, a brief memo that kind of synthesizes that, so it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
I
we
look
can
at that
kind of
table
see.
and it overwhelms me still, so I
Let's not do the
understand,
turf
so-
discussion again.
Yeah, just so we can see.
So pulling that together and, you know, there was discussion like what was even the potential along East Shore, I think with limited analysis, a very, very basic analysis, we could take a look at like what's already been built there, what are some of the properties, and, you know, just a very baseline analysis of something like that. Because when we speak of like, you know, 120 rooms, each parcel comes with its own development potential. So, you know, the whole pool, and they're also limited to how many rooms they can have based on parcel sizes and other nuances. So that could potentially be allocated among several parcels. But I think based on the conversation, we could pull together a memo.
And that would be helpful to
Within
me
the parameters.
to know what parcels are left on East and the size of them and what they're, you know,
Right, some
could
just
be used.
basic information.
Right.
As a starting, or continuation of the strategic conversation.
There we go.
That's
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
Is that-
Good. Yes, that helps. Thank you.
That was helpful, thank you.
Okay.
I got it.
No, that's it. Thank you. I think it's important because we could sit in this very place in 2 weeks and somebody's presenting, they want 5, they want 6, they want 2. And I think us taking that tone and posture that we're recognizing the opportunity, the responsibility. Let's get as much bang for the buck as we can in closing this chapter out, and let's try to fill some of that vision gap that's missing. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, nothing further on that. Then we move to agenda item 10.2, which is discussing the canceling the work session scheduled for Monday, September 14th, 2026. I will be out that day, and Councilmember Teixeira will be out that day as well. And so the discussion is we could cancel it or we could move the work session. It's whatever the pleasure is of the council.
I'll go. Thank you. This is an important discussion. I think we all value all of us being a part of every decision, business decision we make. I think there's balance here. It's recognizing the importance of us being present for these discussions, the opportunities for the public to be present, to see and hear and be engaged. There's also a side where we set calendars and commitments for council schedules back in January, we commit to. Staff works hard to build schedules and agendas around that commitment. They then communicate and work with our businesses, our investors, our developers, lawyers, engineers, architects, and they make plans going forward based on those commitments as well. So I think what my thought is, and having a bit of a compromise, I don't think it's in our best interest to have that work session on the 14th with you two not here. I understand that, and I don't think, I don't have an interest in that. But my thoughts on a compromise for that, and respect to all that was just said, is, can we, just like we sat here tonight on a Thursday with no work session, can we cancel the 14th? We've already dealt with the CRA this morning, and put the work session and council meeting on the 17th, and do it that way. That way, I think we're compromising everybody's schedule. We're respecting staff's time and communications, as well as business community and the public that know the schedule going forward. So that's my thought.
Can I just, so you mean one meeting on the 17th, right? Just one
Exactly
council.
like we did tonight.
Okay, all right.
Because we,
Well, that's what I understood was too. I'm like, oh.
yeah,
One meeting.
One meeting on the 17th.
Okay.
yeah, I pointed out that the county, I think the county has its work session the same day as they have their commission meetings. So if we're all available, we could have, earlier in the day, we could have a work session prior and approve a consent agenda the same day as we have the council meeting. That would save everyone, including staff, some time at night, but we'd just be
So-
moving it from Monday to Thursday.
I'd rather have a council meeting only and no consent, because the way that council has their agenda, everything that's discussed at a work session then needs to be moved, and individuals who submit comments
Got it.
for the work session, because the council meeting wouldn't exist until after the work session.
Okay.
So it doesn't give enough time for comments to be submitted, and it'll be really difficult to flip that the same day, unless council amends their rules to just approve it, how they do it. I think they allow them to just have the agenda, and then it's the same agenda, but then they just approve items via consent, or items identified as consent.
Are you talking about in our council
Yeah.
rules?
We would have to amend
in
it,
our
yeah.
council rules on the 31st, so we can bring that back if necessary.
If that's what you want to do, is
Yeah,
hold
well,
the
I'm
meeting
not-
the same day.
I'm not, entirely clear on how the county does it, but I guess, arguably, you could just call the agenda item and not have a presentation by staff. Automatically, they would be there if we had questions about an agenda item, but I'm just trying to think of a way we could potentially still have the work session to prepare like we normally do, but if it's inconvenient or it's not going to work, then that's fine too.
Only because you don't receive public comments during work sessions. So that's where the issue lies in terms of the council rules, to allow people to comment on the work session agenda, because the way we recreate, we reorder everything for just the council meeting.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Vice Mayor?
No, sir, I'm good. That answered what I was going to go with.
Okay,
For now.
okay. So consensus
We've got
is.
one over here, sir.
Yeah.
What is the consensus? What are we going to say? What is the consensus?
We're just not going to have a.
Before I go down that rabbit hole.
I think we're just not going to have, we're not going to have a work session.
We're not going to have any work session, we're just going to
Have the
vote.
meeting.
Like we did today.
Yes, but tonight, as very obviously, there was no subject of great involvement. We had, maybe 7 speakers, and there's others where we have thousands of people outside. So are you saying that that meeting, that council meeting, that agenda will reflect like this one, where there are no agenda items of great significance in terms of public interest and discussion?
If I'm directed by the manager to do so, but otherwise, I don't think that's the intent. I think it's whatever is
Yeah.
scheduled, because we've noticed and advertised for those cases, then it would just fall like, it just happened to be where nobody really showed up today. But we've
So-
had instances where they come out.
I think, if you don't mind, can I?
Yeah.
I'd like to say, I've been trying to sort of watch where it's going so that hopefully it would resolve itself, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I want to clarify something. First of all, I did not ask for any meeting to be canceled because of my calendar or my schedule. And so what I have asked with respect to both the CRA meeting and the September 14th council session was that significant items, the ones that would benefit from fuller discussions, had a high interest, public participation, be moved to a date when I could participate. It's as clear as that. The CRA meeting, of course, has been canceled, so at this point, my request is only for the work session. I am not asking to cancel anything. I'm not asking to delay routine city business. I am just simply asking that significant items on that agenda, on that day, be postponed. I also want to be clear that I'm not asking for special treatment. This is the first time in 4.5 years that I've asked for this. I have never missed a meeting, and I have made many changes in my calendar to accommodate others' schedules. But this is an unavoidable example. I am asking for consistent treatment. Scheduling accommodations have been made for other council members in the past, sometimes without my knowledge or consent. So I'm simply asking for the same consideration. I actually went so far as to bring this to the attention of everyone weeks in advance, out of respect for everyone's schedule. I do realize that the schedule was predetermined. But again, we've always been very accommodating to everyone's calendar, to everyone's obligations, and I'm just asking for the same thing. It's just not that hard. Now, I understand that what I'm asking may impact some agenda items for up to a month of delay, but after all said is done, the results will not change, because it will be this council that will be reviewing, deliberating, and voting on those issues well before the election. So it's not that like I'm postponing it or pushing it to the next council. It's simply, I'm trying to deal with something personal. I cannot avoid it, but I'm also fully committed to this job, as evidenced by my attendance record. And I just want the same respect. Consistency. That's all. And I don't know why it's so hard. This is my 4th time asking. I need a God-honest answer. What is so difficult about postponing high-interest public agenda items once in 4.5 years? That's all I'm asking. I can't avoid this family obligation. It's been done before for vacations. What's so hard about this one? Because after the last meeting, what I got was comments about, why was it so hard? Why was I on the dais begging to have agenda items postponed? And that was a tough conversation I had to have several times, because I myself could not explain it. It's just not that hard.
Councilman Robert?
Well, the way I see it, I don't think we're leaving you out. I mean, all we're doing is saying, we don't need to have the work session.
That's
Public's not
what you
invited.
say. I want to be there.
Public is not invited to speak at work sessions. We could take care of it on the 17th.
So why wasn't it done before?
It's done tonight.
There was nothing on the agenda that was heavy.
Well, I mean, there was, but we didn't have any
The
response.
Vice Mayor has something to share, so Vice Mayor.
Thank you. In regards to significant impacts and if that's one of the major concerns that I'm hearing and not being able to maybe hear what you have going on, maybe the people that are still here do have the work session. That way, we get presentations, we can ask questions, and then you all are able to review it on the YouTube channel, on social media. That way, the members of the public can literally send you emails, phone calls of, hey, this was important to me, could you please follow up with this on Thursday night? Notifications, questions on Thursday. So yeah, so you'll still get public outreach, you'll still see what the debate was here, you'll still get the presentation from staff, from anything else that was there, and be prepared for Thursday night's meeting.
Could I respond? Obviously, work sessions are important, or else we would just be coming over here and vote. There is a objective to having a work session. That's deliberating, participating, having a discussion, and then having that opportunity to go to a meeting. Again, I ask, why is this circumstance so different? I see all kinds of changes, omissions, postponements, continuances, going 6 weeks without one, doing 2 in a day. First time I ask for something, because I cannot avoid something that has to do with my family. And I have asked verbally, I've put it in writing, and now I'm on the dais twice. I want to have the opportunity, that is my right, to participate in important discussions, deliberate on important discussions. That's what a work session is for. There is a purpose to a work session. And to say now, well, we could just do it without you. Well, why would you ask me of that? Why would you ask me to not be present when there are so many other solutions available?
Yeah, I would, if I could weigh in. If, I would not be for 3 of you having a work session, because any one of the 5 of us can pull everything from the agenda, and I would do that. Just if there's only going to be 3 of us here at a work session, I think we need to have everything on the agenda on the Thursday night. So essentially, that's asking the staff to present twice, and to, so I don't know what the efficiency is of having it if it's only going to be 3 of us. So, but I'm wondering, and would, back to my original idea of having it during the day on Thursday, I mean, I don't know when you might be able to return before then. Could we do it earlier in the week? I'll be back the next day for me, and here the rest of the week. But is there a time that we could schedule it?
As of now, I fly in Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I might maybe try to do the night before, but it's just emotionally frustrating. I'm not asking for a vacation. I'm not asking to go to a conference. I am asking for my once in 4.5 years' time to take care of my mom. And apparently, it's so important, this one specific case, that I cannot be given what has been given to everybody else.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Yes, sir. I was only suggesting having a work session for review. So I would completely not put anything on a consent agenda. That was the only reason I thought about it. Something like tonight, I would be fully for. I mean, so just so to clear up
I understand.
the thought process of that, like flights can be long home, so watching that on your flight, that was my sole thought. And then anybody from the public watching said work session could generate a question to any one of the 5 of us, and then us prepare for that. Otherwise, Thursday night, I'm still good to have it, because we still have the flow of debate and ideas on Thursday nights after being presented information.
Okay.
Suggestion, another council can meet in a work session on Thursday morning or earlier, and then meet Friday for a council meeting. We have one annexation, and we do have time to re-notice and re-advertise it, so that's an option for your consideration.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're proposing, Ms. Call, work session on the 17th, council meeting Friday? the 8th.
If council calendars are available and the city manager and the city attorney are available,
Yeah.
we can try to make that happen. There are no meetings scheduled on Friday. We can meet as early as council is available on Thursday, if that's okay, and then that way,
I have a conflict.
okay.
I leave that morning, Friday. Sorry. I mean, I can look and see if there's, but as of now, that doesn't work for my schedule. Mayor, may I?
Yeah,
Or were you going to
sure.
go ahead?
No.
Just a couple of things. Councilwoman, I feel for your situation and recognize that it's not easy, and I don't envy the position that you're in, and I recognize the emotions attached to it and greatly respect it. So with that being said, I don't want to come across as callous or to kind of go backwards over what your ask was, and I'm sorry that you found discomfort in your original new business item when you said it. I didn't feel that sitting on the dais at that point at the end of the meeting was the best time for us to sit there, or the most efficient time, without seeing calendars, schedules, knowing what's on the agenda, what's not, to start a debate that we're having now. Because that's exactly what that would have turned into and been way more of a circus when we came into this one prepared, and look where we're at. So that's why that was my silence, not to disrespect, not to not want to hear it, not to not validate what you're asking. That was mine. My hesitation is that, and I know you said a couple times they are only asking for something that it's been done for everybody. I haven't had this treatment, nor have I asked for it. So just to be clear, I'm not lumped into that brush that you're painting. I think what we need to be careful of is that if we start stepping into a territory or establishing a precedent where individual schedules start becoming institutional obstacles, and we start redoing schedules and businesses, and then where do we draw that line? Yes, you are in an unfortunate circumstance with mom, and it's kind of emergency. I get that. But what if somebody next time has a family obligation, and the next one has a conference, and so I think we start playing that game of moving city business and obligations. That's a slippery slope to go down. So that's my hesitation, not because I want to take your voice away, your opportunity away, not because I devalue the importance of a work session. I think we've showed through the last handful of years we've all worked together, we have the ability in one council meeting to, as of today, present items, from manatees to a discussion as big as a Evo Family Fun Entertainment Center. That's important, and it's a massively important opportunity and decision for our city going forward. I respectfully want you both to be a part of, if we cut it down to 3 discussions, 2 readings, 3 discussions, a council meeting, a work session, and a second reading. We have 3 opportunities, 3 bites of the apple for all of us. I think we would be lying to ourselves if we sat here and said our minds weren't made up. We could probably have the decision today. I think we all know where we sit and where we're going with this. So my thought is the compromise, cancel the 14th. I don't want to do anything without you two there. I don't think that's a good look or to start moving forward with. Do the combined session on Thursday as one meeting. It keeps us all there, allows us all to have the same exact opportunity 3 times to speak to something, to question something, and move forward. But outside of that, it's nothing.
May I respond, Mayor?
Yes.
Actually, what just happened right now, this actually makes my point. Setting precedent. It has been set. It has been done. It has been accommodated. Requests have been accommodated, period. So why, again, is this one so difficult? Precedent exists already. And look at that. Hey, can we do it Thursday, Friday? And then what did you say? Nope, sorry. And there was it. That was the end of the thing.
Yeah, but I can't be here, so.
Right, so when I'm saying I can't be there, so why can't we just push it? What is going to happen in that month? How is that going to change the results of whatever it is? How?
Yeah, go ahead.
If we push it by a month,
Go ahead.
the results do not change, whatever that is.
I think there's a distinct difference, though, is that you had an emergency come up from a preset schedule, whereas through that preset schedule, he scheduled time to be somewhere else. I think that's the key difference there.
I'm scheduled here too, right? I scheduled it in July for this. I've been asking about it since July.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. I just heard about it the last time we spoke about it at these chairs.
I mean, I received some feedback and I did not feel comfortable with how it was perceived, which solidified how I felt. I am not asking for what has not been given to others. And the fact that there's so much pushback, I think, makes me uncomfortable. How is that to be perceived? What is so, I would understand if the outcomes would be altered, but it won't. It will not be altered. By pushing it a month, whatever is scheduled, by pushing it a month, it will not be altered. It's happened before, through human error, omissions, changing, whatever. The schedule is a fluid thing. We see it right even today. Today, continue to, there were 6 weeks we didn't have any meetings. It is something that has been flexible in the past. So why isn't it now? What makes it different?
Well, I guess, I understand all you're saying. I understand the history and how we've handled things and agenda items. What we have before us is the discussion of the work session, whether or not to have the work session. So we're not really discussing what's going to be on the agenda on the 17th. Right now, we're just discussing whether or not to have a work session, either cancel it or reschedule it. So I think that's our discussion now. What's on that agenda for that meeting, that's really a separate conversation, I think.
I understand that, but we do have a pending application to vacate 3 right-of-ways, Laura Street and Alley and Grove. The next time would be, for the council to hear that, would be September the 14th and September the 17th. So would you all like council to keep it on that date, I guess, would be the next question.
Councilman Menino?
Yeah, Mayor, thank you. A couple things. I want us to make sure that we recognize the fact, and no disrespect at all. We need to recognize the fact that when we say outcomes are not altered by pushing business back a month, tell our Phillies that. I mean, that push them back a month and we're not baseball ready for spring training. That's a massive problem. Tell staff that made plans to go visit their children they took to college, and now all of a sudden the schedule's changing because we have challenges, and that's been said since January. That alters their lives and changes. Tell developers and investors that have lawyers and architects and engineers on the clock with set dates that this is the date we are executing this and moving forward, and now all of a sudden we start extending dates. Tell them that the outcome is not altered and nothing changed. It changes to the tunes for some of them of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Affordability is the #1 discussion in our country. We have the direct ability to help our community with that, and this is one of the means, by not extending businesses, by finding ways to expedite processes and treat people fairly and the exact same. But I think we do need to recognize that it's not just about us and our schedule and this one maybe topic that we're concerned about. There are altering those outcomes. Things do change and may not change to us, but it does change for those out there. So I feel that a fair compromise is, as exactly as the mayor said, cancel the work session, have the meeting on the 17th. I think it doesn't do us justice to walk out of this meeting and just settling with that and saying we'll figure out the agenda, because what's going to happen is going to be behind the scenes a tit for tat, where the 3 is, what is the 2, what's the majority, and the easiest answer for these two are going to say, take it to the dais and let council decide, so they're not stuck in the middle of it. And this is our opportunity to decide and make that decision. Decisions aren't always easy. This is a challenging one. But I feel that moving business forward, not letting our personal schedules be obstacles to business in our community moving forward, we fairly cancel the work session, have a dual meeting on that Thursday, a work session combined with council meeting, continue to move forward with our tentative schedule.
You had something else to share, Vice Mayor? Yeah.
I agree with the sentiment that you just shared there too, especially for our developers. I mean, we don't know what their schedule is or on their timelines for what it's costing them. I mean, we just went through something with the Ballard Hotel group as well that was trying to make a change, and if they didn't get it by a certain time, it was going to be like $250,000. So we don't know what the applicant is looking at in those delays and costs and those types of things. So I completely agree with those sentiments. And just for clarification, not having a work session, but the combined formal meeting Thursday, that would just include the same parameters as tonight. I would be all for that as well, just having that on Thursday, canceling the Monday work session and moving on. Thank you.
I would love to see this kind of concern for other applicants. I'm sorry. We've had how many continuances and how many delays through no malicious intent, just normal day-to-day things that happen. I have never seen this, it's going to take a month to delay, what's it going to cost? The inconsistency is blatant. It's blatant.
Anybody else have anything to add? I hear what you're saying. Also, you will be here on the 17th. Right, yeah. So my concern was that there'd be discussion without really on an important issue like the one that we're talking about, that either any one of us would not be here for any discussion that the council would have as a whole during a work session. But if we're going to cancel the work session and everybody's going to be present for consideration on the 17th, and again, if there's some way, that doesn't sound like it's practical, but if there's some way to have a work session before and earlier in the day, I think that would be a compromise if we could do that. It sounds like that's difficult, but I don't know if we could still do that or not. That would give you an opportunity to have the discussion you wanted at a work session before the council meeting. But I don't know if it sounded like it's challenging, but I don't know if it's impossible for us to do that.
My concern is for those who want to submit comments who do, not that we have a large variety of, or a large number of individuals who submit through the Legistar, the agenda process, who submit comments, but there are some who do. They would not have the opportunity. So for that meeting, we would have to forego receiving comments through the agenda. And then the other issue would be, well, I mean, if council's okay with just having the work session agenda and later on that day there is an agenda and people can submit comments, not knowing what the agenda number is for the council meeting, because they would only have the work session agenda, then that's another way of doing it.
Councilman Albritton?
Okay. So I've listened to all this go back and forth. You know, we have a job to do up here. And nobody's leaving anybody out having one meeting. It'll be a long meeting. I think it's the best solution because I want everybody here during discussions, and that's the best time to do it. Everybody's here, and we can talk till our heart's content. We're going to have a lot of public people speaking either side of it, and I'm just going to plan on being here for a while. But I think that's the best solution. Doesn't leave anybody out. And I think that's what we should do. One meeting, Thursday night, and then we have public input. We've got a lot of discussion going on. You can talk to your heart's content, and we can take care of this, take care of business. So we have an obligation to take care of business here. And if I was going to not be here, I wouldn't want to say to anybody that, hey, let's do it next month. I'm not here this week. I don't care for whatever reason. I think if we got if we have the path, that everybody will be here, we ought to take it.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I agree with Councilmember Albritton. I've secured vacation, not just for my normal allotted time to be back on a fire engine at 10. I will be off duty once I leave. I do not go back in because I anticipated a long meeting. So, you know, I've anticipated this being something that'll be drawn out, and we can go to the wee morning hours debating and listening to the public comment if that's what we so choose. But I'm all for one Thursday night evening.
So is this one we need to give direction on, or is this one we need to vote on canceling the work session?
I'm okay. If there's consensus, which there appears to be, it may not be unanimous consensus, but
To
we have
cancel the work
consensus.
session. Well, I think we're
For one
unanimous on
meeting.
canceling the work session.
Yes,
I believe.
but we are okay with the one meeting then.
Is there consensus to bring forth the first reading of the vacation ordinance for Laura Street, Grove, and the alleyway, that area? Is there consensus from council to do that and have it be heard on September the 17th?
Yes for me.
Yes for me.
Yeah, if we're all going to be here, I think we consider the business that's before the council. It's been the applications that are ready, personally. Yeah. My concern was that we would not all be here for the discussion, but if we're all going to be here, then we consider whatever is appropriate for that agenda. Okay, with that, we move to item 11, closing council, comments by council members. Councilmember Albritton?
Yeah, I just have one correction, Mayor. I heard at the beginning of the council meeting when you were introducing Willie Rice, you said that he was a member of the longest acting church in Clearwater. And when Willie said that to me a couple of months ago at a mayor's prayer breakfast, I texted him, I said, Willie, First United Methodist Church, my church, has you beat by 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Okay. Well, thanks for that clarification. Somewhere I'd read Pinellas Counties. Okay, thank you for that. Councilman Menino?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Yes, sir. I just want to go back to the beginning when you gave special recognitions, sir, to those 6 businesses. Again, applaud them for their hard work, and as you said, not just being in the Tampa Bay region and being recognized, but being here in Clearwater. I think that speaks to volumes that we had 6 out of those top 50. And a majority of them, if I can stand corrected, were definitely within the top 20. So that's even more powerful. So shout out to them again, and hope everybody has a good weekend.
Okay. Councilmember Teixeira? Okay. Move to item 12, closing comments by mayor. I just want to say, I've been asked 3 or 4 people if I'm going to the Asian market this weekend. So it's something that was interesting to me. I hadn't thought about having Asian market. I know there's a very popular one in the county that takes place, I think, weekly during the summers. But big event here in Coachman Park, and hope everyone comes out for that this weekend. So, and with that, if there's nothing further to come before the council, we will adjourn the meeting of the Clearwater City Council for August 20th, 2026.